The Sony ZV-1 in 2021. Should you still buy this camera today, right now? Should you get it? We got to talk about this. Let's go. Hey, yo, what up, y'all? It's Tight Shirt Terry Warfield, and today I ain't even got no sleeves, so I can't even really say it's Tight Shirt Terry, but anyways, hope you're having a good day so far. If this is your first time here, yo, a fat welcome to you, and if you're part of the fam, you're part of the squad, you came back, I'm here with open arms. I'm so happy to see your face. Do me a favor, drop a hashtag fam down below so that I know you came back. Now, let's just go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes. The Sony ZV-1. I feel like everybody and their mama has a ZV-1 because although the niche maybe wasn't there at the beginning, it is certainly there now. You cannot find another camera in this category till this day at this price point. Point and shoot, 4K 24, 4K 30, 1080p 120 frames a second, 24 to 70 f1.8, all of these smart functions in it, picture profiles, built-in high quality microphone, all in the freaking package that you can literally slide in and out of your pocket. So the question is, should you buy this in 2021? And I think that's a loaded question because I think this is a fantastic camera. However, I think you got to think about what you want out of a camera. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to touch on some things I love about it. I'm going to touch on some things I don't like about it. And also, if you should still spend your hard-earned dollars on the Sony ZV-1. So let's talk about the things that I love first about the ZV-1. Number one, it's hard to deny the size of this camera. It is so easy to just slip into a book bag, slip into a freaking pocket, and pull out a camera that gives you like everything that you need from a vlog camera without having to attach lenses, without having to do any of that stuff. This camera makes vlogging and content creation simple because of everything that it has built into it. It has the flippy screen on here. I love how when you open the screen, it just go ahead and it turns on and you turn it back off and it literally slides right back into your freaking pocket. This is crazy that we have this level of technology. I love the active stabilization that's built into it. I love how small it is. I love the picture quality out of it at 4K 24, 4K 30. Like, the image quality is outstanding for this to be a 1-inch sensor. And I'm gonna throw that out there a few times in this because a lot of people will get this camera thinking that the image quality can compete with like the Sony crop sensor cameras or the Sony full frame sensor cameras. And in broad daylight, I mean, sometimes it can, but you know, we are facing the limitations of physics right here. A 1-inch sensor can only get us so far, and of the point and shoot cameras, I think the Sony ZV-1 gives you the best image quality in photos and video mode for what you get in this small package. Obviously, if you want better image quality, you'll need to jump up to a micro four thirds camera, you'll need to jump up to a crop sensor Sony or full frame Sony. But considering the small sensor in here, the size and the weight of it, it is incredible picture quality that comes out this little package. When you're vlogging, when you're doing YouTube stuff, whether you're doing live streaming, which, you know, the update on this camera, you can just plug it directly into the micro USB port, which we're gonna talk about that in a second, and just live stream. You'll need no additional software, nothing like that. Like, it's just so hard to argue with this camera for $750. The image quality, the built-in microphones, all of the smart features, the amount of codecs, frame rates and stuff like that. I mean, I guess we could argue that, come on, Sony, we got all these 10-bit formats coming out and stuff like that. Why couldn't we get something like that in the ZV-1? However, you know, this is not a purist video camera. It's more of a point and shoot, pull it out, vlog, get the shot, put it back in your pocket. I love the 24 to 70 millimeter focal range in this f1.8 to f2.8. Now, the only thing that y'all have to remember is, yes, the lens is 24 to 70. Technically, the lens is like 9 by something else. The equivalent focal length is 24 to 70. So that also means that the lens in here is f1.8 to f2.8. However, when you apply that to a 1-inch sensor, that aperture advantage is not the same as we think it is. It's really like a f4 through like a f whatever, but neither here nor there. At 70 millimeters, even at f4, you can still get plenty of depth of field and compression. So given those things, given all of these freaking smart modes, the skin softening, the background defocus mode, which is super helpful for beginners, the product showcase mode, which is super helpful if you do YouTube reviews or any type of content where you're putting your hand or a product in your face and you don't want the camera like prioritizing your face. Like, all of those smart features in this camera make it super easy to just pick it up, get the shot that you want, stick it back in the pocket like I already said. And that is where this camera freaking excels at. But I'm gonna tell you like this, it ain't freaking perfect. Let's talk about the things after using this, after all of these months, that I kind of don't like. Okay, now if you like this video so far, you getting value out of it, do me a favor, hit that like button. Y'all don't understand how important that freaking like button is. If you a hater, make sure you hit that dislike button 2 times. And if you're not part of the fam, that would be a great time to join the squad. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so that you get notified when new videos go up. Now let's talk about the things that I don't particularly care for with the ZV-1. All of this outstanding stuff, like, what's wrong with it? Number one is the battery life, and I feel like I can't complain about this. However, it still really annoys me because the battery in this camera is so freaking small. And I get it, it's the trade-off of having a small camera. You get a small battery, I totally understand that, but still, it's very annoying. 4K 24, 4K 30, yo, you're gonna get about 45 minutes of filming time out of this camera, so be sure that you grab some additional batteries if you do. Now, the Sony batteries are not super expensive. I have an official Sony battery in here right now, and I'm gonna be honest, man, I'm a cheapskate, and I'm not saying that you should do this because you could potentially void your warranty, but yo, they make third-party options that are cheaper too. But yeah, the battery life is definitely an Achilles heel, I would just say, of a camera this small, because there's no capacity because the freaking battery is so small. The next thing is the sensor size. Now, again, while, yeah, 1-inch sensor is good enough for most people, if you really want to get into some depth of field, if you really want to shoot in lower light situations, the 1-inch sensor will really start to show you what the limitations are. Now, I don't know if it's something that we can complain about because we know about it already. It's not like we didn't know that it has a 1-inch sensor in here, but it is a consideration. The other thing dealing with that is the 24 to 70 millimeter focal range. Now, this has always been one of my biggest qualms with this camera. Sony advertised this as the literal vlogging perfect camera, right? But 24 millimeters for a lot of people is already too narrow for vlogging. Then when you put it on active stabilization mode, which you will need to, because if you try hand holding this thing without active stabilization, it's pretty freaking shaky. Yo, there's a crop on it. So that 24 millimeter with active stabilization becomes like a 25 point something, might as well say 26 millimeter. And that basically means you're vlogging with the camera looking up your freaking nose, unless you have it on a selfie stick or the Sony Bluetooth grip, which is right here, which I do recommend using with this camera. But unless you get the camera way far out there in active stabilization, 26 millimeter is too close for freaking vlogging. So I wish they would have put something a little more wide on here. And I get it, you know, physics, if you want something this small with a 24 to 70, if you want something wider, then you got to give up the faster aperture. Like, we get all of that stuff, and I totally understand that. However, for vlogging, I think with active mode on there, it's a little too narrow. Now, don't get me wrong, I love that we have built-in stabilization within the camera and several modes, and I also love that we still have, even with stabilization, built-in ND. But yeah, it's a little too narrow for my taste. Now, there are things that you can do. They sell like third-party accessories to make it wide angle and all of that. Yeah, listen, ain't nobody got time for that. I wish that it was a little bit wider. out of the box. The other thing with this camera, I really can't stand how it's micro USB on the side. I know it still works. I know you can still live stream from it and all of that, but come on, Sony. I complained about this when I first reviewed the camera, and I'm still complaining about it now. Nobody freaking uses micro USB anymore. This should have been USB-C from jump. The last thing that really bugs me about the camera is it's not an interchangeable lens camera. And again, I can't really complain about it because we know about it, but I don't want to use that as a knock against this camera. I want to use that to help you determine if you should buy this camera, which we might as well just go ahead and pivot to the last segment about that right now. So the ZV-1, as long as you understand what this camera is all about, it is a additional camera. In my opinion, it is not a main camera, although some people do use it as a main camera, but I think it really sits in that, you know, B camera, C camera category, because you cannot expand with this camera. See, with a crop sensor Sony camera, although they are bigger than this, they have the ability to change lenses. And why is that such a big freaking deal? Well, let's just say you get this camera and you decide in 6 months that you want to get serious about taking pictures of birds or something like that. The only thing you got with this camera is what you got with this camera. You can't take this off. You can't replace another lens. And I get it. It's a trade-off. This is a pocket camera. It's really not intended for that, but it's something that you need to know. If you want something this small and you want something that you might potentially be able to grow with, you may want to consider one of the other Sony crop sensor cameras because of the ability to change lenses. So as long as you're okay with knowing the limitations of this and that you can expand upon it, then it is a great freaking value, even with its disadvantages, and there aren't many. There are so many pros with this camera versus cons with this camera. It's kind of hard to argue about anything. I'm pretty much nitpicking at this point of the things I don't like about it, but it's really a fantastic camera. And in 2021, there's still no camera like it that can match this pound for pound, pocketable, that has all of the features, that has everything that this camera has going for it. You can't find it anywhere, even if you wanted to spend more money. The next in line would be like the RX 100 Mark 7, which is another what, $600 or $700 over the ZV-1. As long as you understand that you cannot expand upon this camera and that it does have the limitations of the 1-inch sensor, the small battery, and that's pretty much the only other major limitation besides not being able to change the lens, I highly recommend you get you one of these bad boys to complement either your main camera, your secondary camera, or to just have a dedicated vlog camera that you can pull out, get your quick video snaps, do your vlogging, even take pictures with, and slide this bad boy right in your pocket for $750. There's a link in the description to the third-party batteries I talked about, the ZV-1, and a Sony Bluetooth grip, which I'm about to do a whole entire video on this thing because I think every single Sony shooter should have one of these, but I'll put a link in the description so y'all can go ahead and cop on right now. But anyways, let me know what y'all think about the ZV-1. And there's my dog, so we definitely got to wrap this up now. But let me know what y'all think. I'm very curious to know. Hey, Macho, shut up. I'm very curious to know what y'all think about the ZV-1. And do you have one, or are you planning to get one? Let me know. Hey, I got to get out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope it was useful. Hope it was helpful. Until next time, I'm out. Piece of chicken grease, Terry Warfield. Peace, and I'm taking my ZV-1 with me.